Welcome to the Beyond Borders podcast. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is the podcast where we show the benefits of outsourcing, especially outsourcing to companies based in the Philippines. We're going to be speaking this morning with Mr. Justin Pavzik of Staff Domain. He's going to talk about how Staff Domain differentiates themselves from other BPOs. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Justin.
Thank you so much, Neil. Really appreciate it.
Well, our listeners would appreciate it if you would tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of a personal insight, and then talk about what it was that led you to become a part of the BPO industry.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting question, Neil. So we actually started out in 2018. I myself, prior to Staff Domain, had a BPO, I should say, an e-commerce company that was actually based out of Clark in Pampanga. And at that point in time, we were a little bit sort of unhappy with the service provider that we were using up there. And also at that juncture, I actually had a chance to sell that business. So when we did sell that business, we sat down, myself and my business partners, and decided that we thought that we could actually make a really lasting impact in the BPO industry just by looking at some of the things that other people weren't really being upfront and honest about or not being transparent about, which is one of the big challenges with our industry. A lot of companies aren't transparent about salaries. They're not transparent about what kind of entitlements the staff have. And even some of the big companies, sometimes when I look at the laws they're trying to actually skip over, we see a lot of these kinds of things happen quite regularly. So we came at it from the standpoint that we wanted to be really an ethical outsourcing organization, show people at a very beginning level from the whole way forward how transparent things really should be so they can really have meaningful conversations with their staff.
Now, I've spoken with several BPO industry leaders on this program. This would be the first time that I've ever talked about transparency. What is it about transparency that's so important to people that are not part of your company? They're hiring you to make their company shine and make their efficiency even more so. Why would they be so worried about what you've got going on in your company as long as what they need to have done is accomplished?
Yeah, that's also a great question, Neil. I think the biggest thing to remember is that high efficiency comes when we have low attrition, okay? When someone starts in a job, and anywhere in the world, it takes them some time to ramp, right? And during that ramp time, there is a cost that's involved to the clients, right? So let's say, for example, a salesperson comes on, but doesn't necessarily hit all the KPIs out the gate. Now, if you have a lot of attrition because you're not being transparent with your clients about what that person is actually getting paid or what the entitlements they should have are, maybe the client assumes that you're doing the right thing, right? But then time and time again, people keep falling out, they keep having attrition, and then obviously there's a cost to the client. The thing is with our business model is we're very upfront with what we're paying the staff about what their health insurance look like, what their benefits look like, what kind of employee engagement we do, because we understand that happy and engaged employees will always stay longer. And people who stay longer naturally become better at their jobs. So when they're naturally better at their jobs, then that means there's more efficiency for the client, which means there's more revenue and more ROI over time.
You mentioned that many big companies kind of shirk some of these transparency issues and maybe others. Is this an industry that was built on cheap salaries and poor work conditions? Is that something that is the norm even among clients?
I think that there's an assumption that people in the Philippines will work for $3 an hour, which we've seen a lot, right? And this may have been true in the 90s, but one of the things that I see quite often, and I actually find quite offensive personally, is I'll see online influencers on Instagram or other places saying, oh, you can hire someone in the Philippines for $3. The reality is, yes, you probably can hire a fresh graduate out of university for $3 who has no experience working in an international company, has no experience in what you're asking them to do, and then you will get upset at them or the client will get upset at them because they're not producing the work at the level they want. We are big advocates for fair salaries for the staff. Now, all of our clients globally save between 60 to 70% on their staffing costs in their home countries. The difference between the people that save 60 to 70% and get really good output and the people that want to save 80 and 90% and pay those $2 and $3 is the difference between people not understanding what the actual market value of that person is because other people have told them who are not actually involved in the industry or who may be trying to do a bait and switch kind of model that they can get staff cheaper than they actually can.
Do you thoroughly vet your clients to make sure that they have an interest in how well their offshore employees are treated by their company? Are you taken aback or leery when a client seems to not care about whether you're transparent about whether your employees are happy or not?
We deal with a lot of clients, a lot of different countries, and it's really written on our website. It's really written on every part of marketing paraphernalia that we have. If anyone takes 5 seconds to look us up online, they can really see that we are very much invested in our staff. And because of that, we naturally don't attract clients who don't share those common values. And maybe sometimes we'll turn around and we'll be working with a client and we'll be going through the sales process with them, and they'll give us some indication that, that they're not aligned with our core values. Mm-hmm. In that case, we can often refer them to other companies or other websites where they can look and find maybe companies that are better suited to what they want to do and how they want to offer. But for us, it's important that we work with great clients. Those clients work with our great staff, and everybody's happy along the way.
Do you find yourself educating clients as to the scope of Staff Domain's services? Explain your core services and your geographical reach.
Definitely. So a lot of times the clients will come to us with what they perceive they actually require, and we'll sit down with them and get a good understanding of their business, where they are currently, where they're looking to go, and how they're going to get there along the way. We can then make recommendations for them on what staffing solutions they'll require and when. A lot of clients will come to us saying, hey, we need 10 staff immediately. And a lot of BPOs, their gut reaction is, yes, we'll take that business, of course. Not thinking that a client that is new to offshoring will struggle to onboard 10 staff at once. It's hard work initially, because you've got to work out, okay, are my documents and procedures really up to scratch to what they need to be to work with an international team? Have I dedicated the time to be able to educate these new people that I'm bringing on board and spend the time with them to ramp them during this new period? And a lot of times clients will overestimate their ability and underestimate how much work it will take initially. It's like when you're hiring new staff, in your business anywhere. I'm in Australia at the moment, Neil, but we have offices in the UK and the US as well. If I was to go out and hire 10 staff that reported to me today, all to start tomorrow, I'd have to clear my schedule for the next half month. Mm-hmm. Because we just need to spend those time with those people. We can't expect to hire people, put them in the dark, and expect them to produce. It's not how things work.
Is there anything that you think that our listeners need to know that you haven't touched on yet that it's a vast topic and surely there's a lot, but what's the main takeaway for us today? And give us any contact information that you like.
Yeah, so I think, Neil, for us, the big takeaway that I would say to anyone that's listening to this podcast is when you're looking at offshoring, there are a multitude of different options. Have a look at your vendors, have a look at who they're accredited by. Are they Great Place to Work accredited? Have they won any awards? Are they well regarded in the industry? What are the reviews like on, let's say, for example, things like Indeed or Seek, and see what the employees that work there think about that operation. Also ask to speak to a couple of their current clients, see what their clients think about them. I think for us, it's really the proof is in the pudding. Sit down, investigate how transparent they are, shop around and ask the right questions. For anyone that's trying to reach myself or my team, you can do so by going to staffdomain.com or reaching out to us on sales@staffdomain.com.
Justin, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm hoping that we'll get an opportunity to speak again as things progress and grow there at Staff Domain. And thank you once again for joining us here on the Beyond Borders podcast.
Thank you, Neil. You have a great day ahead.
You as well. You've been listening to the Beyond Borders podcast. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Justin Pavzik of Staff Domain. Audio copies of this program are available at verticalinternetmedia.com. You can learn more about our offshoring services at outsourcingfit.com.